gentlemen, welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Falak Khan, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions, by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such industry titan on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Ms. Paramita Bagchi. Hello, welcome, Ms. Bagchi. We are glad to have you here today with us on FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you so much, Falak.
So let me give you a quick brief about Ms. Bagchi. She is a distinguished financial leader with a remarkable career spanning over 22 years across various industries, showcasing exceptional expertise in finance, business partnering, budgeting, controls, and process improvements. As the CFO and board member of Compass Group India, the latest role she has assumed, she has consistently demonstrated her technical prowess in GAAP conversions, finance control, liquidity management, and corporate governance. Her ability to manage complex projects efficiently across geographies with multilingual teams, coupled with her strong communication and interpersonal skills, makes her a standout professional in her field. So, Ms. Bagchi, could you please let our viewers know in brief about the career journey so far?
Firstly, Falak, thank you for the introduction and thank you for the use of such generous words. I'm really honored to be here today. Well, I think the first thing I must say here is that my parents set the foundation of my life and the value system, which essentially makes me whatever I am today. Now, I started my career as a freshly qualified chartered accountant, and I joined East India Hotels, which is EIH Limited, the flagship company of the Oberoi Group. So essentially into the hospitality sector and in their risk and controls vertical. Here, I learned the very basics of the corporate world, the basics of risk management, how you apply the principles of risk management in practice, industry best practices, as well as the use of technology in auditing and so on. After about 7 enriching years with EIH, I essentially decided to take a break because of maternity reasons, and at the same time shifted base to Gurgaon. During the course of handling kids, I also added CISA, which is Certified Information Systems Auditor, as a qualification to myself, which essentially enables me know the various systems issues in finance as well as in other verticals. So thereafter, if I may call it my second innings, I joined Ernst & Young in their financial accounting advisory services, which is primarily into advising companies into conversion of their accounting statements into IFRS. Now, I also worked in their risk vertical. Now, here the consulting assignments used to take me to various countries as long as that projects were on in those countries. And as they say, every experience provides a huge learning and opportunity. So these assignments help me appreciate and respect cultural differences, be a better communicator, have an open mind, so on and so forth. So I worked with Ernst & Young for about a little over 3 years. And thereafter, I moved to join retail, that is Adidas. Now, my job in Adidas was to set up their risk and internal audit function, because you would remember that, Adidas at that point in time was coming out of a fraud that happened with one of its brands called Reebok. And the idea was to, hire somebody and to establish the entire risk and control vertical, put in the controls, put in SOPs, and ensure adherence to that. So I worked in this role for about 18 months. And thereafter, I shifted in Adidas as the country finance controller role. Now, it was quite a challenging, in fact, a very challenging experience, because the financial statements that I inherited were a disclaimed set of financial statements. So from there onwards, I managed to work with the auditors to remove all the qualifications and make it an unmodified statement in a year's time. After about 4 years with Adidas, I decided to move on to a bigger role and joined Indigo, the country's largest airline. Now, the scale of operations here was enormous, as you can guess. So from configuring their ticketing system from a GST perspective, to liaising with airports for airport charges, to setting up and scaling their 100% subsidiary, and also automating and outsourcing the accounts payable, the 6 years that I spent with Indigo was absolutely an awesome experience. I worked with some outstanding people on very challenging assignments, and in the process, added immense value to myself. Finally, I moved on from Indigo to join Compass as their CFO and board member. And Compass, as you know, is in the institutional catering and facility management space. And it is, in fact, the world's largest, B2B caterer. And it's present in 40-odd countries. People tend to think that what can go wrong in food? But given the fact that, the range of service offerings that we have, and also the bespoke solutions that we have, actually make the business quite complex. The company, one of the main reasons for joining the company was the company is growing by leaps and bounds, both in terms of organic and inorganic. And that was one of the key reasons for, joining this. And it's been 18 months with the company, and it's been a fantastic ride, and I'm enjoying every bit of it.
So I think it's been a really interesting and wonderful journey so far, and I'm sure that you've just grown over the years. So I want to know, next question is, what do you consider your biggest professional accomplishment so far?
Well, there are actually quite a few of them, but if I were to zero in on one, I think it would be the one at Indigo. And I'll give you a reason as to why. So, within 9 months of my joining Indigo, GST was mandated in the country. And the ticketing software that, Indigo used was not only used by Indigo, but across the low-cost carriers, which we call LCCs, in India and abroad. And the ticketing system was owned and configured by and maintained also by a company in the United States. So, you can understand that changes to the system would not be made at the behest of Indigo only, unless the entire LCC fraternity agreed to it. So with less than a year at hand, it was quite a daunting task, understanding the GST Act itself, the various interpretations, and choosing the right interpretation, as well as making the right representations to the government, then aligning all the low-cost carriers to agree to the interpretation, and finally configuring the system, testing the system, pilot runs, and so on and so forth. The achievement that I was referring to is that the system went live with zero downtime and with no major errors. And I think, this was a culmination of meticulous planning, of immense hard work, of great collaboration, and of effective monitoring. So I do consider this as one of the most, best achievements of my life, of my career so far.
That's really very great, truly inspiring, I must say. So you have been honored with the Best Innovation Award at Adidas. How do you come about achieving it?
Well, it's actually a long story. I'll try to fit it in and make it as as short but understandable as possible. So in Adidas, actually, when I joined, there was no procurement department. So essentially, every department used to do their own purchases. So you could call it a kind of a decentralized procurement. Now, as a result, there were no SOPs or no adherence to controls. And this was very important, especially since the spend here was significant. So we, as I said, with the background of fraud that Reebok had suffered, it was very important to put in the right processes and controls. And therefore, we debated a lot whether we should go for an in-house or an outsourced model, and finally decided to try the latter as a pilot. So we partnered with an organization who took care of the procurement. And what we negotiated with them was essentially at zero cost to the company. And what I mean by that is that whatever are the fees that we were to pay to the organization, the company would have to bring in savings worth that much. And the savings would be audited by the internal audit team of Adidas to figure out whether the calculation is correct. And the first year was an amazing saving, much more than the fees that we paid. And we were quite surprised that even for the second year, the savings was, significantly high. So this was something that, was never tried in any of the other countries of Adidas, in the EMEA region where we used to hold it. And therefore, we got the best innovation award here.
That's wonderful, I must say, indeed. So as you have been on board, do you believe that India's corporate governance framework is conducive to the country's booming corporate fabric?
Well, I think before I get to my thoughts, it's important to at least understand what corporate governance is. So in my opinion, corporate governance can be defined as the structure of systems, processes, and controls by which the managers, the board of directors become responsible to the stakeholders, be it internal, be it external. Now, it is perhaps the most important factor in the economy, which has a direct impact on profitability, on growth, and on sustainability of the business. Now, corporate governance in India has significantly evolved over the years. So be it the New Companies Act, the SEBI guidelines in LODR, the Ind AS accounting standards, the secretarial guidelines. So essentially what we have done is we have established a strong legal framework from a corporate governance perspective. But despite that, the country has seen a lot of corporate governance failures and corporate or financial scandals. So this only reinforces the view that strong legal framework does not provide the complete solution for all corporate governance issues. So if you really think of it, and in my opinion, that enforcement of corporate governance is still an unfinished agenda in India. Having said so, there is a strong momentum for continuing reforms in this space. And this should, arguably strengthen the organization's success as well as link it to the stakeholders' satisfaction and thereby create a conducive environment for the booming corporate fabric in India.
So, as we are talking about corporate governance and also as well as ESG, so as someone upskilling her professional purview with ESG and corporate governance expertise, what values do you bring to the table?
I think I basically bring to the table knowledge on pretty much every facet of finance. So when I talk about finance, I mean finance and accounting, systems and processes in finance, best practices, knowledge of corporate laws, direct and indirect taxes, and a reasonable amount of business knowledge in the industries that I have worked for. And of course, this is backed by a strong sense of ethics and integrity. I believe that my experience across sectors brings in a certain level of objectivity and a different perspective to the issues that come at hand. And because finance knowledge is fungible, as in, industry agnostic, it isn't very difficult to apply, finance knowledge to a different sector or a different industry altogether.
Yes.
ESG essentially is something very, very close to my heart. And in Compass, we are, very, very closely working with ESG and, trying to be good corporate citizens, if I may, call it. So ESG is something that, unless and until we embed it as a strategy in every process in the entire business, it does not, come out as a sustainable thing for an organization to do. So I can definitely, bring in that knowledge and ensure that it is embedded in the overall business so that it is something that can be sustained in the long run and bring in the profitabilities as well as become great corporate citizens.
So as someone working closely with technology, what are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with changes in technology? And what changes do you expect to see with the new wave of technology, namely AI and robotic process automation?
Oh, I mean, personally, I'm a great fan of automation and digitization of, almost everything and anything under the sun in finance. So technology in finance, actually plays a very, very important role in terms of increasing the efficiency of the function, in reducing errors, because finance is the last gate in any organization. So reducing errors is, very key to ensure that only the right things get paid. And finally, taking informed decisions in terms of, moving ahead, moving forward. Now, just to give you an example, how, we kind of capitalized on the overall technology and the tools. So, Indigo operates from about 70 plus domestic airports. And every airport operator sends multiple invoices to Indigo and in multiple formats at multiple periods in the month, some 15 days, some 7 days, and so on. Now, if I were to do all of these invoices, verification of these invoices manually, you would require an army of processors and fall, significantly short of the accuracy that we're talking about. So what we essentially did in Indigo is we implemented a robotic process automation process where it picks up the invoice from the email, analyzes it, matches it with the number of aircrafts that had taken it, calculates the accuracy and only throws the number of unmatched or unreconciled things. So that helps in the deployment of the manpower into more intelligent work, while rule-based repetitive work can be left to the tool to handle. In Compass also, we are using automation and very simple app-based, kind of things for the purpose of doing quick invoice matching for the invoices which have, a three-way match easily possible. So all of that brings in the efficiency. And as I said, for the companies who have a lot of data available, AI, I think, is the next, big thing. And AI will actually analyze the data and give you a lot of predictive analysis that may be possible, especially for sectors where you need an immediate demand planning, which will in turn, kind of do a production planning. So all of this can be linked up very, very easily and seamlessly through AI. So I'm a great fan of this, and I would want technology to, help us in furtherance of this goal.
Yes, true indeed. And definitely we hope so too. So as you know, we are building a community of industry magnets. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about this initiative taken about by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hemal Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
So firstly, I must congratulate them. This is an awesome initiative, and kudos to even, bringing this thought alive and, taking it to its logical conclusion. Having a platform where you can, share your thoughts and ideas is immensely powerful. And, I believe that while knowledge is power, the very act of sharing knowledge is even more powerful.
True.
So this this platform that we're talking about is, probably the platform, powered by the knowledge of so many industrial magnates, to be able to guide the startups, to be able to help, companies who are in need of, the advice or the support that's required. So I would, once again take this opportunity to congratulate them for this, for bringing this platform live, and being a part of this platform, it kind of fills me with a sense of pride. And I am honored and humbled at the same time to be a part of this and to be able to share thoughts and visions on various topics.
These have been really kind words by you. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. Paramita Bagchi. We wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. And all the wonderful teachings, the different principles, and your achievements that you shared with us, I'm sure, everyone watching this, it is going to help them grow in their careers too.
Thank you so much, Falak.
Thank
you. It has been wonderful conversing with you as well.
Same here.